Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. West side, raise it up. Raise it up, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. The west side, raise it up. Raise it up, raise it up, raise it up.
Hey loves. My name is YN Vaughn. I am also known as Y, and this is another outstanding episode of Raise It Up Y, the podcast. We are coming at you the last Thursday of July in the year 2020. This is episode 20 in 2020. And guess what? I have some dope stuff ahead for you. Like, I don't know, today is Thursday, tomorrow, I don't know. I have an album coming out. Excuse us. It also plays off of 2020. The fact that it's called The Voice of Reason, Volume 1, Visionary Affirmations. So by the time you hear this, if you're hearing it as it's coming out, there's hours left, literally, before you get some greatness in your phones. I know you can't really go to store. Well, good thing we can't go out to stores to buy music because ain't we living in a time? What a time to be alive, right? So it will be right in your phone, available on all platforms where you can download and stream and buy music. And The Voice of Reason, Volume 1, Visionary Affirmations is like the next thing. So I just thought it would be so dope here in 2020 on episode 20 to talk about some visionary shit, ladies and gentlemen. Today, this episode is called Dear Gentlemen, ... You will recall that on episode 11, I believe it was episode 11 in November of last year, 2019, we had an episode called Dear Ladies. The whole title was Hush Up and Listen. And I told you guys that I wanted to call it that because there was some really, really good stuff in there, like urgent for you to hear. And I just needed the women folks at the time. You know, this podcast is a lover of all individuals, however they identify, you know, whatever genders and whatever pronouns that we all prefer. But for these episodes, this last one in 2019, Dear Ladies, I was speaking to the ladies who were looking to gain the interest of the gentlemen folk. And I wanted them to listen immediately. Listen. Because there was some important stuff to say. So this episode, ladies and gents, we're flipping that narrative. And this is Dear Gentlemen. I think I told you I wanted to call episode 11, Dear Ladies, Shut Up and Listen. But I thought that was very harsh, obviously. So I wanted to say, Hush Up and Listen. So ladies, get this. For the Dear Gentlemen episode, I wanted to call this Dear Gentlemen, Shut the Fuck Up and Listen. But, you know, I felt like that was a little harsh for the gents. So I gave them the same treatment and said, Dear Gentlemen, hush up and listen. We'll get into more of the urgency of what I want to talk about with our gentlemen folk in just a minute because we got a couple segments coming at you. And you know, 2020, the year of vision. And we are talking about self-awareness very overtly because what's the point of being able to have 2020 vision, seeing everything in the world, but not having a clear view of you in the mirror, right? So this particular affirmation that I'm going to talk about regarding what we're looking at in the mirror, self-awareness wise, is going to come in the YN's words of wisdom. It usually doesn't. We usually have it as one of the segments, but I figured let's kill two birds with one stone and put the self-awareness question answer inside of YN's words of wisdom. The question there is, what's the difference between humility and practiced unworthiness? That's what we're going to be talking about. What is the difference between humility and practiced unworthiness. So we're going to look at a high why that came from IG Live just yesterday. Well, no, just a couple days ago. We're going to talk about a raise 'em up why, which is where I'm going to be speaking to the fellas. But I think everyone can learn from this, just like in episode 11, we did the same. And then we're going to feature a very special Douxadiddy in honor of Snoop Dogg championing the wonderful Verzuz platform. Shouts out to Swizz Beats. Remember Ms. Swizz? No. Shouts out to Swizz Beats and Timbaland for, in this time of quarantine, in this time of being inside the house where it looked like so much was stripped from us in terms of liberties of just being able to be outside. Shit we took for granted. Two gentlemen, two Black entrepreneurs, two dope men in the hip hop game created an entire platform and have been providing premium content for all of us as not just a nation, but a world to really, I don't know, get unified, to have something to talk about that is positive and happy. And you guys know the platform that you're on right now, Raise It Up Why. We look to raise your self-awareness. We look to raise your vibration and your capacity for love. All finding that positive, non-corny positivity within the hip hop community. So in honor of Verzuz, because it's two Z's. So in honor of Verzuz, the Douxadiddy today is going to be a song that the Emotions just released from my episode 2 episodes ago. The Emotions, a song called Life, and it's featuring Snoop Dogg. Shouts out to Snoop Dogg. Shouts out to DMX, both legends from two different coasts, amazing lyricists, and we thank both of them for their contributions to music overall. So, ladies and gents, y'all know how we do this. You know how we do this, Dan? Let's start with some grounding. Like let's start with some grounding. Yeah. I think that'll be the vibe. So, if you're home or anywhere else comfy and you have the capability, I'd like you to go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Some of you know me already. Others of you who are just being introduced to me. I'm a trained therapist and an edutainer, an entertainer, and an educator. And in grounding, we separate the space, the energy space between wherever you were moments ago before you turned on this podcast and where you are now. And the best way to absorb the information that we're going to be providing in today's episode, in any episode that we're doing, is to kind of give you the opportunity to plant yourself in our environment, plant yourself in our space. So we do it sort of like a poem, because I am a published poet. Take a moment to be here with me. Hear my voice. Feel your feet. Go ahead and wiggle your toes. Touch on your pretty nose. And all that just to realize that you are physically, mentally here. Breathe a breath in. Go ahead and blow that breath out. You can do that again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I just want you to take a moment to own this. This here miracle that we call life, that you're breathing and you're winning just by living this life. By spending this time with my voice right now, you're investing into your betterment. And I want you to sit with that and feel proud. And welcome. Let's go up, ladies and gents. Let's go up. First up, segment called Hi Why. It's where I take questions from followers on Instagram, or sometimes people have DM'd me on the @Wyana account. That's my personal and my music, my entertainment account. But people come on and ask questions of my perspective on things that they're going through. And this particular question comes from a gentleman @Dan Borjango. Forgive me if I butchered your last name, because I don't think you are from the States. I think you are from somewhere in Europe, and you're so dope because you always support what I do. So I appreciate you, and I wanted to answer you here. Dan's question is, what does it look like to give space in a relationship? What does it look like to me to give space in a relationship? Okay, ladies and gents. When you all engage in an interpersonal romantic relationship, there seems to be this propensity for two parties to kind of melt down into each other, and you kind of just become this one conjoined unit, this thing called us. What happens is when everything you all do is now done with the two of you, there's a sense of individuality and autonomy that each party loses. And the thing is, that gets tiring. The thing is, it's cute for like, oh man, a couple months to a year, depending on your personalities. And then after that, one or both parties starts to look at the unit as an encroachment on your personal space, time, and energy. In a lot of relationships that I've spoken with, it seems like the gentleman can begin to feel this before the lady. In the ladies who felt it before the gentleman, these are powerhouse women. These are women that got a lot to do. They know what their time schedules and things look like. And while they may have been in their honeymoon phase and they melted their lives into this unit called us, once they start to kind of snap back into their own version of reality, they're like, bro, I don't always got time to hang. And so those sorts of things create constraints on the relationship. Space within that relationship. It looks like regaining that personal time that each of you had before you subscribed to the one relationship that you're in. For some individuals, it might be going back to some of the hobbies, some of the life lessons that you learned and how you learned them before you met your mate. For others of you, it may be getting more of that work done or setting a new goal for yourself in a different space than the relationship and kind of like running really well in that direction. The thing is, regaining that autonomy that you once had before you had the relationship, it starts to feel like if both parties aren't that autonomous or don't want that said space, it can feel like one person is leaving the other. It could feel like one person is outgrowing the other. And it feels like lopsided. It doesn't feel like you're evenly yoked anymore, right? So communication is key. Let YN tell it. Communication is so key. If one or both parties begin to feel like, yo, I need space, bro. Like, I love you. You have to know that I love you. And when I leave this to go do other things, to like still be myself as an individual, it's not me going back to the club that I met you at and then, falling for someone else and making some sort of extraneous relationship out of it. It's not that. We're also talking about like mature man, woman shit. When I talk about creating space, the way I'm talking about it. If you have a person that says, I want to create space, you give them the space and then they go out and get a new girlfriend or get another side chick or a side dude, create some sort of entanglement. If that's where that ends up going and it's not something upon which you both agreed, that's shitty. That's whack. I wouldn't advise on that particular thing. What I'm talking about particularly is when you decide with your partner, look, I need my personal space back. I used to go to YN personally, dance salsa so much before I met you. And I know that salsa isn't your thing. It doesn't mean that it's not my thing anymore. So I want to go and regain that part of my life again. And I would love if you wanted to come or hang or, do whatever. Or if you want, maybe something that you did before you met me, you can pick that back up. But having that space for me to be an individual without judgment in the relationship, I think all that starts with that conversation. Starts with the conversation, a sense of understanding for both parties. This is coming to one another when things are good. If you only have talks in your relationship when things are rocky, that's a telltale sign that something needs to become different in the communication pattern. I think communication creates the best relationships, sustains the longest, happiest relationships, and it's second to none in terms of importance within a relationship. Gain that sense of communication. And what does it look like physically? Well, that is up to each individual. What do you want to do with the space created? I know during these COVID times, a lot of relationships have felt strained because you're around each other all the time. If you're a couple living in a house together and you feel like you can't get anything done, maybe set certain spaces in the house. This is my when I need space. This is my pocket of life in this house where I get to just be me. Or when you go shop, if one of you does the shopping, let the one person go breathe air, walk around and get that for themselves. If we're not in a COVID time, because I'm sure this podcast and this content will live when everything goes back to what we're going to call a new normal as it comes. It's just being able to find that thing that makes your heart sing. If one of you knows what makes your heart sing and the other doesn't, and is kind of leaning on that other person, that's something that needs to be talked about too. But creating space in a relationship and how to give someone that space, it means that you have a talk, there's good communication there, understanding is involved, and it has to be trust within the relationship. So that you know when one party is acting as an individual away from the relationship, they're not disrespecting the union that the two of you have, right? So some honest communication goes on there. And yeah, I think that's how you do the giving space in a relationship during COVID and not during COVID sort of a thing. But get those talks up, all right? Hope that helps anyone who might be looking to improve the nature of their relationship during these times, as well as well after these times, whenever you're listening to this. We're going to move right along to the next segment, which is a Raise 'em Up. Raise 'em Up is when I provide y'all some kicked game, you understand, from my OG perspective. During these COVID times, we didn't only have to deal with COVID now, did we? Black lives seemed to come into the conversation of human rights and civil rights. Some people may not realize that's what one's meaning when they say, hey, Black Lives Matter. I don't care what other auxiliary attachments may come with that statement. Political affiliations, economic affiliations, people thinking that it has to do with your how devout you are to this country, or a disrespect to troops, or who knows the extra, what I personally think, distracting messages that people attempt to put on a very simple statement. Lives, people who are living, who happen to have skin that is more melanated, and we call them Black, their life matters too. Their life matters just as much as anybody living and breathing on this earth. So when I'm telling you all that Black Lives Matter, I'm telling you that as a person who is Black, as a woman who is Black, I have as much reason to live with the fullness of what it is to be a proud American as a transgender Asian woman, okay? As a heterosexual, fully functioning white male. As a Latina who happens to be in this country and has got here when she was 6 months old, and it's the only country that she knows, but she wasn't born here, and she's looking to become a citizen. This is her country too. This country is an amazing, amazing country. The U.S. is. We're also the youngest country in the world, so we're in a little adolescence tissy fit right now within ourselves. But as we come out of it, as we mature out of this, one thing's for certain, and it's not up for debate. That's Black Lives Mattering. All lives for certain matter. That is called human rights, and it's redundant to even say that. However, redundant meaning it's so true that it's almost like, hey, we breathe air. Hey, we breathe air and all lives matter have the same meaning to YN Vaughn. All right. But what I want people who may not look at the statement Black Lives Matter like that, what I want you to gain from this little talk I'm having with you right now is, because it's so obvious that all lives matter, the word all has to include every faction underneath it. All, therefore, includes Black. Black lives must matter if all lives matter, and all lives do matter, right? So as a human rights standpoint, I'm telling you that Black lives matter. So why did I talk about that first? Because in this social reckoning with race that we've had in this world, this wasn't just an American thing. I think there were protests to show support for Black Lives Mattering, I think 19 internationally, including places like South Korea, including places like Australia, including several places in Canada. This was a worldwide show of support for American Black lives, making sure they matter. People stood in solidarity around the world. And while this was happening, within the Black community, American Black community, another issue arose. If you guys follow my @Wyanna page, WYANNA, a couple weeks back, actually on Juneteenth, right after Juneteenth, because I'm an edutainer, an educator, and an entertainer. Juneteenth, for anyone who doesn't know, is recognizing that the last of the slaves, I think Texas was the last place where there was still slavery, and the last of them were freed as of June 19th, I think 1865. I could be wrong about that date, but 1865 is like the Civil War and all that stuff. So technically that was when slavery was abolished. So you guys fact check me on that. But what I do know is that on Juneteenth, I gave a talk on my Wyanna platform, just speaking on something that some Black men asked me to speak on, which was there seemed to be, this podcast has to do with hip hop. In the hip hop community, a woman brought up a point that Black women felt unprotected by Black men. As she said this point, she pointed at a particular Black male rap star. Y'all can go look this stuff up on your own. I'm not getting deep into this beef because I think it takes away from the grander point of things. But the gentleman, both people are rappers, by the way. So when a rap person brings up an issue with another rapper, you tend to clap back. And that's called like beef. You know what I'm saying? A rap beef. However, I think maybe because it was a lady on a gentleman and the gentleman clapped back with the young lady, it was seen as something different. And it went to attempt to further the lady's point about, see, Black women are the most unprotected person on earth. That's a spin on a sentiment that Malcolm X brought up back in the day. While I do not believe that what those two rappers, the lady rapper and the gentleman rapper, what they ended up talking about, I don't believe it was an example of a Black male not supporting a Black woman. I think that's, if you speak on me, I don't care who you are. If somebody says, man, YN fill in the blank, when I come back at you, I'm going to be like, so check this out. And I'm going to come back at you. I don't care if you're my same race, height, ethnicity, gender, fill in the blank. I don't give a damn. If you come for me, just be ready. Be ready when I come back for you. Not in a malicious or hostile way, but in a real way. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that I think physics, what's acted upon acts back, everything has an equal and an opposite reaction. That ain't shit but physics. So it's not weird when it's happening in human behavior and rap as well. But I want to say this for you gentlemen. And when I say gentlemen, you guys know, a lot of you know how this podcast was started. It was started by Black male students in the Ujima program, and it was affirmed by dope Black men in hip hop, artists, executives, etc., OGs in the game. So when I talk to you gentlemen, I'm talking to all gentlemen, anybody that this can pertain to, but specifically, I'm talking right to you, Black men. I'm going to say a couple things, and they're indisputable in my eyes. Number one, Black man, protect that Black woman. I don't know if you needed to hear that, because I think that a lot of you already do. And if you go back and look at those videos that I put up back on Juneteenth, that was my exact sentiment. Like, oh, I didn't know this needed to be talked about, because everyone from my grandfather to my dad to my brothers to Dr. Dre, Exhibit, DJ Pooh, Ninth Wonder, DJ Premier, every other gentleman who I've had the pleasure of knowing in this game, DJ Quick, Questlove, Fonte, I felt nothing but hella protected. I've never, ever felt a violation of my space or safety at all. So I think that this just needs to be said to any gentleman who needs to hear it. So if it ain't you, what do they say? If the shoes don't match, don't buy the matching purse. You understand? If that's not your shit, then, don't pick up what ain't yours to hold, all right? But what I am going to say, Black men who need to hear it, maybe you don't already do this. Black man, protect that Black woman. Protect her. What does protecting a Black woman look like? That's my part number 2. If you see something, say something. If you have homeboys who are doing less than admirable things to a female around you, maybe their tone is crazy, check your homeboy. Maybe they a little handsy, AKA she's trying to walk away and they grab her. Check your homeboy. You see something, you say something. All right. In the world of hashtag Me Too, the real authentic space of hashtag Me Too is giving a voice to people who have felt victimized and from a sexual harassment type of space. So if you know that your boys are out here, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. If they're sexually assaulting women, coercing women, raping women, molesting women, I don't care the age, I don't care anything, check your homie. Notice I'm saying check your homie because most listeners to this podcast who are Black men, and funnily, I'm a complete West Coast chick. My biggest listenership is in New York. Did you know that? Did I tell you that, Katie? Yeah, so shouts out to y'all in New York. I love y'all. You understand? I've always loved me an East Coast nigga. But to my West Coast dudes, to my Southern dudes, to my international dudes, Black and otherwise, if y'all are as stand-up as you think you are or as you say you are, you got to know that you are the company that you keep. Show me the top 5 people that you hang out with and I'll show you you. Some people say, nah, but I got homies around me that do shit that I don't do. They're only acting out the parts of you that you don't feel safe enough to act out. But it's you. Trust. I said this to some of my students in Ujima some time back. I hang out with her, but she a hoe. I said, and she carries out all of your hoe tendencies. Maybe you're in a relationship. Maybe you don't think you want to do it. But trust and believe, if that's somebody that you can keep in your circle, what they do is indicative of who you are. What they say, birds of a feather, they flock together, right? All right. So back to you gentlemen, because I'm on your head this episode with love, by the way. If you see something, Say something. It's not enough that I didn't do it, that was him. Nah. If you see that your homeboy is doing something out of pocket to a female, to a woman, to anything or anybody, if you're a stand-up dude, check that motherfucker. Check them. Or make yourself available for the hood to check you. Because that's the next part that would be coming. Trust and believe. The community will come after you. I'm being honest about that. So, yeah, don't do dumb shit, my boys. Especially if you call yourself a black man, a king, a dude, a gentleman who's looking to do right. Surround yourself with that same energy. Let me see it before I even speak to you. Let me know the caliber of dude you are by all the dudes that are surrounding you. That's what I'd like to say to you, gentlemen. Another thing about protecting that black woman and what does it look like? I want you guys to know what she's been through and how it may impact the behavior you see. I want you to know what the black woman has been through, and I want you to know how it may impact the behavior you see. Give you an example. I'm a black woman, hella curvaceous. I got my job at the college, at Pasadena City College's Ujima program by singing a song called Thickness. It is a rap song that I created for myself to affirm myself, my curves, my thickness before the Build-A-Bitch era, before women was out here buying bodies to look like every other female. I'm talking about natural cornbread. What did they say? Red beans and rice didn't miss her. Yeah, that part. The cornbread chick. That's me. You understand? Hello. Hi. I'm telling you, let me give you an example. Working out at the gym. On several occasions, men have ogled, that means to look hard at and not take their eyes away from me while I'm doing stretches that have been prescribed by a doctor. I need to do these stretches after I do my cardio, after I do whatever to stay healthy. In another case, I'm on a treadmill and a dude happens to brush his elbow against my ass. And I'm inside in the treadmill, and a treadmill has like a lot of space. How he happens to accidentally fall in my treadmill to brush up against my butt, only God can know. But it's nasty, it's icky, it's yucky, it's ugly. Again, leaving my gym, leaving working out somewhere at all. I've had gentlemen follow me to my car and say, "Hey, yeah, so I was looking for your number." And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm okay on that actually. And it's like, nah, so like I'm saying, I'm looking for your number. Put your number in my phone. And in my head, I'm like, okay. So guess what? I'll put a number in your phone. Who the fuck knows whose number this is? But I want to let you know, I'm looking at your face, and I got a lot of homeboys around this area. I'm being so honest with you. Like, truly, this is one of those things where I just need you guys to see what it looks like in the life of a pretty, positive, hella educated, hella sweet, like a thick, pretty girl. This is the kind of interactions I've had with men. And dare I say, each of these incidents have been with black men. So don't get it wrong. I know that these black men aren't all black men. I'm not silly. I'm a smart woman. I'm logical. You understand? I know that a couple spoiled apples don't ruin the bunch, but I can't say that it doesn't make me, when I see a dude, even if he's a nice dude, try to come towards me. I don't know what energy this man is bringing towards me. I don't know if he just got out the pen. I don't know if he got gang affiliation. He got tattoos and stuff. I don't know what I'm about to get. So sometimes, gentlemen, when y'all want to say something, even when you're being kind and sweet, because of what we've already been through as ladies, we're a little burnt by the time you attempt to give us some of even your positive attention. I want to give you that so that you all know not every woman is trying to, all right, she curbed me. No, we're not trying to curb you all the time, but we just don't know with what energy you're coming to approach us. So please be patient with us as we're learning to be patient with you, and we can do this whole nation building thing. All right. I also want you to know a third piece for your information, gentlemen. Appreciating a woman doesn't have to include your dick. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Appreciating a woman doesn't have to include your penis. What I mean by that is, I wish you guys knew how many dudes, when they DM me, they'll say, Queen, oh man, you're amazing, you're great. You know, thank you for the stuff that you're doing to support and blah, 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 blah. God forbid I even give a thumbs up back, or double tap that just to say, oh man, thank you, King, I appreciate you. One of the next comments is, yeah, I hope he's treating you right. It's like, no. You can appreciate me without having to get at me. You literally can. All of you. I swear. You can appreciate any woman without making it a, now how do I bag her thing. Go back to point 2. What does protecting a Black woman look like? Any woman really, ladies and gents, I'm just using this for the Black community right now, but it doesn't have to involve becoming romantic. It doesn't have to involve getting at her. You can pay compliments and just be nice to girls just because you want to be nice to us. Period. It can happen like that. Our experience, though, is that most times you all look for our attention. It's very rarely that it stays at complimentary levels. It generally goes to, shit, yeah, so what you doing later? So, hey, Miss Lady, I would love to. That shit is whack. It's ugly. It's weak. Appreciate to appreciate. And let that be that. And let that be that, right? FYI, also, for you ladies, for you wonderful, beautiful ladies, I know what we've gone through. I know some of us have been assaulted by men, not just Black men, any man. So our trust sometimes can feel a little bit betrayed by men. I want to tell you, burying yourself in your victimhood can make it really difficult for a dope stand-up dude who wants to just be there to say, hey, I see you. You're not invisible to me. You have value to me. How do I protect you? That gentleman exists. I know, because my inbox gets flooded with these dudes that say, yo, why? What the fuck? All I did was try to tell this one girl this and that, and she sunned me, and she this and that, and she was a bitch to me. I'm like, I hear that. And guess what? Sometimes what we've been through in this life have us throw up the bitch wall because it's our defense mechanism. What I'm telling you, Black ladies, ladies in general, anyone to whom this applies, it ain't gotta be that. It ain't gotta be that. Rooting yourself in your victimhood rarely encourages anyone to help you. And that's true for anyone in their victimhood. So let me get back on the Black community as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, kings and queens of the Black community, Black American community, all over the world. If we root ourselves in our victimhood so deep to the point that nobody ethnically diverse than us can help us, I want you to know we're doing a 45. We're building a wall to everyone else, and we're keeping ourselves trapped inside, helpless, angry, resentful, and feeling like we're not enough. Just letting you guys know, there is an opposite. We had a whole episode on mindset. The opposite of victim mindset is victor mindset. It's championing your situation. And to champion your situation, you got to be looking for the championship of your situation. You have to be looking for the win. When you look for the win, you'll find it. When you look for the victory, you find it. So just know, everything in this life that you're looking to obtain, it's here for you. All of it. Positive relationships with men, for ladies. Smart, dope Black women to just compliment, or to even maybe take on a date if she feels so inclined, but don't start with that, gentleman. Just be cool. You understand? Your dicks are so much more important to you than they are to us. Hear that, men. Hear me when I say that, men of all ethnic backgrounds. Your dick is so much more important to you than it has ever been or will ever be to any female any woman, or even any other man, anyone. It's just so much more important to you. So learning to curb that, learning to curb you having to see you in every situation, and just being able to appreciate for the mere feature of appreciation, just because you can appreciate some shit. You understand? That's what I'd like to leave you all with for my raise 'em up portion. For all of you gentlemen, but especially you black gentlemen, all right? Take that in, hold that, marinate it, let it set with you. You understand? Say you wanna go? Do what? Just let me flow. Do I did it? Do my thing, baby. Do my thing. I did it. I was flat on thing, but let it rock. You gonna judge me because I was flat? Anyway, Chris ain't gonna give me no rhythm. You ain't gonna give me no rhythm back? Was that a rhythm? Okay, we're gonna keep.
I just thought it'd be funny.
We know.
So you don't do me like that.
Wait, hold on. Sound speed, we good? We everybody, we living? You good? Yeah. You said what?
I'm erasing this.
Don't you dare. Today's Douxadiddy, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the celebratory moment in hip hop that we just had with the under the guise of the Kings, Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, celebrating the legends Snoop Dogg and DMX. I wanted to share with y'all the version of Life by The Emotions, my mom and aunts, and it's also the group that my sister and I are now a part of, the legacy group, Grammy Award winning 70s group, family group. You understand? Life is a song that Wendy and I, my older sister, and I wrote together alongside Joseph Lineberg and Terrace Martin. We wrote this song for The Emotions, and when Snoopy heard it, he was like, oh yeah, go ahead and run that, cuz. Run that, let the boy get on there. So Uncle Snoop got down, you understand? And he called himself Uncle Snoop to us, but he called mom and them auntie. I love it. I think it's the cutest shit ever. And, I want you guys to hear this. It has never been played before publicly, to my knowledge. I want you guys to just get a bar of it as we continue to celebrate that West Coast dub that Snoopy got. No disrespect. We love you, DMX. But when I hear X, I think Exhibit. It's not a diss. It's what I think. I'm from the West. It's going to be that way. I think DMX is outstanding and amazing, and I was very entertained in that Verzuz battle. Celebration, not battle, celebration. But also, ladies and gentlemen, outside of the fact that we're going to play Life featuring Snoop Dogg and The Emotions at the end of this episode, I just wanted to take this moment right here to tell you guys the voice of reason, baby. The voice of reason. Dr. Dre named me the voice of reason. And it's one of my favorite titles that I hold. As the voice of reason, I'm giving you all visionary affirmations starting in hours from now if you're hearing this live, and in a couple on the 31st of July, in case you're hearing this like so later than now, but on the 31st of July, so it's in your phones, all your DSPs, everywhere you can get music, it's there. These visionary affirmations came about from an IG live that I did with my followers, where I asked when all of this goodness, I think the most recent times were, I think the Ahmaud situation had just happened, Breonna, and then most recently, George Floyd. All of these, these three, like in a row, ended up happening to us as a people, as a world. And by that Sunday, I was on my live like, would you guys want to be affirmed in anything? I know this time is crazy already because of COVID. What would you all want to be affirmed in? And I started to pick out themes. People gave me a whole host of things they wanted to be affirmed in. I picked out themes. And the first 7 themes that came up are the 7 tracks that you all get on Visionary Affirmations, The Voice of Reason, Volume 1. Please listen to this as you are taking some time to yourself, being good to yourself. Maybe like the high why, you're getting some space in your own relationship, in your own house during these COVID times. If you're not in COVID times, maybe you're on a nature walk, you're on the beach, and you're just driving up PCH looking at the sunset, you understand, on the West Coast or anywhere else, obviously. But I want this to be a project that you allow to affirm you, that you allow to remind you of the dopeness that you are, period. As a person, as a human being. All 7 tracks speak to all 7 chakras. I'll let you guys figure out which is which because it does not go in order. It's all jumbled around. And the whole album, the whole piece of all the pieces of work are tuned to a healing frequency on purpose. So let this play while you're asleep. You understand? Let this just affirm you through the night, if especially you've had a hard day or you've gone through some Black Lives Matter, BLM type situations at work, out in public somewhere, you feel devalued, whatever it might be. Let this remind you how amazing you are, not just any Black individual. If you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community and you're feeling less than because of any sort of discrimination that you perceive, any sort of microaggression, put this on and affirm yourself. If you are a white individual who just happens to be born white, you didn't ask to be born white, you didn't ask for the heritage, you didn't ask for the legacy of discrimination that came along with it. You're just a good person and you want to be reminded, like, bro, I'm a good person. I didn't do the crazy things that have happened to other people. I didn't do that. Allow this to go ahead and affirm you too. I think everyone deserves to be reminded of the dopeness that they have within them. Let this be that for any of you. I've been saying peace ain't reserved for the suburbs. So, especially for my hip hop listeners who might be in these, hood ass places, South LA, the Bronx, Jordan Downs, any Detroit, Flint, Miami, anywhere you at. You understand? Atlanta, wherever you are, let this be a piece of peace for you to just kind of hold on to. We're winding this episode down. I want to come into these YN's words of wisdom where we are answering our self-awareness question for episode 20 in 2020. I just love that. Ugh. Anyways, what's the difference between humility and practiced unworthiness? I think people can confuse these terms. So let's just throw out a couple definitions. And if you're a sexy motherfucker, you'll start taking notes right now. So check this out. Humility. Humility is defined as modest or low view of one's own importance. Humbleness. Worthiness is defined as the quality of being good enough. Suitability. A few episodes back, we took our convo to the West Coast legend DJ Quick's catalog and discussed balance and options. It's crazy to think that was 4 months ago. That's crazy. But the idea of balance returns today during our self-awareness question, which entails discovering the difference between actual humility and practiced unworthiness. We're going to come back to balance in just a moment to tie this message up at the end, but I'm going to start with this right here and now. Balance is what separates humbleness from practiced unworthiness. Actual humility looks different than unworthiness. It looks like doing good for the sake of good and not needing outward approval for it. Humbleness gives off an unimportant appearance to others. It's completely self and inwardly affirmed. More simply put, a humble man presents as low-key, maybe even quiet sometimes, although he might be the wealthiest entity in the room. This person is not showy. She doesn't puff up in order to feel important. Rather, they recognize their importance because of their enoughness, which brings us to the feeling of worthy. Worthiness is simply the recognition that you indeed are enough. The worthy person only seeks his or her own approval. The worthy person, seeing their goodness as good enough, they look to see the goodness in others as enough as well. For example, if I feel worthy if I feel worthy among a bunch of others that I might deem to have more power than me, maybe they get paid higher, they have a greater job title than me, whatever. Let's say I think those people don't take me, my worth, or my ideas seriously, but I know I'm worthy. I can do one of two things at this particular job. If I'm on the job, I can make my worth known and ask how that can be reflected more clearly. And that's only if I love where I'm at. Or I put in my resignation and recognize that my energy may be better represented in another environment. My self-worth says I'm fine wherever I go, so long as I'm there. All right? So someone reading the definition of humility could mistake being humble as appearing unworthy. So check this out. The definition of humbleness again states that one keeps a low view of their own importance. Keeping yourself lowly in your mind might seem innocent at first. However, when put in practice, that low image of yourself can be dangerous. So expounding upon the example from just a second ago, if I felt devalued in the workspace, if I didn't know my self-worth, what it might look like is sitting idly by while someone presents one of my ideas and gets a promotion because of it. I might feign as humble and cheer the person on, pretending that I'm happy for them, while inside, I wish someone would speak up for me, since I feel incapable of doing so myself. Under the false pretense of deeming my self-importance as low, I might be the type of person to big up everyone around me and secretly resent others for not coming to my rescue. My mindset being, if I inconvenience myself to be there for a friend in need, then I expect them to inconvenience themselves to be there in return for me. One of the textbooks out of which I teach describes this person as an impaired giver. An impaired giver is one who feels compelled to support other people at the cost of themselves. Their gestures might seem altruistic or meaning from the heart, but in reality, they're doing good deeds as investments. So one day, they might expect to cash out on all of the investments, all the good energy that they've put into you. Oh, and you better be there for them. Doing good for someone doesn't look like that in reality. In its true nature, doing good for someone is just to be there because it's good to be there. However, for the person who does good for others for the purpose of seeking a return on the investment, That's fake humble. Definitely not real. And this is when people mistake humility for practiced unworthiness. The example of impaired givers, the ones who give at the expense of themselves, they invest in other people because they don't see themselves as worthy investments, period. A good practice to break the habit of faking your humble is to give yourself the time and energy that you divulge onto other people. If you make time for your friends in need, I hope you're making time for yourself to go on a date, to the spa, just to recharge. I would hope that you would gift yourself dinner and dessert that you would attempt to guilt trip your friends into having with you. I want to see what it looks like when you spend time with yourself. Go journal. Go for a beach walk or a nature walk. Get a massage. Go for ice cream. Anything so that you can show you're worth your own time. Another way fake humble appears is when a person doesn't believe he or she is enough, and instead they look to seek approval from their external sources. So maybe this is the type of person that drapes themselves in expensive jewelry as a sign of authenticating their worth because they feel like they don't have the value. Rather, the value is in what they possess and what they own and what they wear. All of the expensive jewels, all of the name brand items that they own say, hey, look at me. I have worth. Can't you see it? I'm worth something. You see all this money I got? You see the car I drive? You see the bad bitches I fuck? You don't know how worthy I am? So sometimes the scales get tipped on the side of having a low sense of self-worth. And when that happens, people find things about them to value, but not themselves. So let's bring balance back in the balance. You like that, don't lie, whatever. Mm-hmm. Humility has worth. Humility has worth. So looking at your worth with balance, that's what keeps you humble. To look at your importance as low or modest doesn't mean that your importance itself is low. Here it is. Shortchanging your importance turns humility into unworthiness. Shortchanging your importance, counting your importance out, that's how you start to dive in, nosedive, just go down into a sense of unworthiness. Keeping balance in mind, look at the flip side. When you point your nose up at the world and overinflate your self-importance, you pervert worthiness into what we call entitlement, where you feel like you have the right to everything. Don't get it wrong. You are entitled to your worth. Your worth is your right. But walking around inflated and demanding people recognize your worth, that tilts the balance of humility up to condescension and entitlement. And it just makes people not want to be around you. You become the dick. So instead, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, I highly encourage you to look in the mirror and learn no sooner that your humility itself is worth. Keep that balance within yourself to stay humble and keep you away from practicing unworthiness. Those are my words of wisdom for today. And y'all know before I go, I thought I was cool. So there that goes. Yeah, guys, check this out. We're paying dues. We're paying dues right here. Some of you guys ask, why do you always do that music? Pay Your Dues is an actual hip hop song, okay? And it's a song that my brother in heaven now, he turned me on to when I was like freaking 10 in 5th grade when we harassed my sister. So it's like, it has perfect personal value and reference to me. So Pay Your Dues. Shouts out to, I think the artist name is Low Profile. Shouts out to you wherever you are. Hope you're doing all good. And thank you, Wayne, for showing me that song. You guys know what it is. First off, I love the Do more than any of you knew. Check her out. Check it out. No, but today, Onet Zeleke of the Zeleke, my baby girl, she sprayed up in the air because Susie, my other baby girl, so gladly gave her the light mist from the Do. I think you guys know that the Do, THEDOUX, was started by my very own West Coast chick, by the way, cousin, and she's my real cousin, ladies and gentlemen. But she uses hip hop to sell her amazing hair care products for anybody who wants to be smart with their real hair. The side of me, check out the baby hair because you know Aquista QT in these streets. Her Instagram is Asian Black at how you spell Asian? ASIANBLK. I know the black is not always spelled out. So Asian Black did this, and so you see these baby's hairs? You see these baby's hairs? We slicked me down with Swagoo. This is my personal Swagoo. So yes, I use it to the point where I cracked it. Don't look at that part. That's not the vibe. But yes, today I'm really into the Do's, the light, and Swagoo for my personal look. And if you are viewing on YouTube, thank you so much. I usually tell you guys this in the beginning. My bad, I forgot. Thank you so much for viewing, subscribing, liking, sharing, tweeting, retweeting, posting all of these episodes from YouTube, from Spotify, from Apple Podcasts, and any other place that you are enjoying this particular platform. Raise it up. Why? If you see on YouTube, though, that I had that beautiful, the Do products in my hands. And you also see that one of my Ujima PCC queens studying to be a doctor, like damn near a 4.0 almost every semester type student, Kylen Trailer. Her Ujima name is Thick Thighs. We call her Thick Thighs, appropriately so. When she is not being a freaking winner in every classroom at PCC, Pasadena City College's Ujima program, she does nails. And when she came over to do my nails so Miss Y could invest in this baby the way that I love to invest in my babies, she put WY right here. She put like my name on my nail. And then she put 13 because y'all know I'm 13. 13 head ass. I really like it. So thank you so much, Thick Thighs. You know Miss Y loves you. Shouts out again to the Ujima program and everybody in there. I really, truly appreciate all of you who are working your butts off. I've heard from so many of you how tired you are trying to get the rest of this education off during these times. Trust me, stick with it. We are all rooting for you, and I know that you can do it. So thank you, and more thank you to all of you. This awesome sweatshirt that you all see me in. Oh, wait, sorry. At I Love the Do, at ILOVETHEDOUX for the Do products. At Nails of Essence, because of course it can't just be essence, it's essence. At NAILSOFESSANCE. At Nails of Essence is my Thick Thighs and her entrepreneurial nail endeavors. My sweatshirt is from at Mathematics, after Mathematics. Wait, I forgot what that song was, but it doesn't matter. Mathematics, MAFMATIKS, at Mathematics. This dope ass sweatshirt. I saw it on their site and I was like, hey yo, Send that to the girl, please. So they also have other awesome hip hop inspired streetwear. It's headed up by my basically brother-in-law. His wife went to school with me. She's an MSW from Long Beach State, Go Beach. And she's the best chick ever, Miss Nydia Aguilar. I love you, baby. And her husband, Otse, is the individual who has created this line for, oh man, it stands for something too. Mathematics is like art and fashion, music, art, fashion, mathematics, MAF, music, art, and fashion. That's what it is. But yeah, so I want you all to make sure that you go visit them on IG, Instagram, or any of their other platforms at MAF. MATIKS, and that's mathematics. Last but never least, y'all know everything YN centric happens at WYANNVAUGHN.com, YNVon.com. I am currently holding up, for people who can't see it, my EP with my 9-year-old sleeping self. If you turn it around, you will see my 33-year-old standing up in a Studio B at Dre's Studio Self the day that I brought Terrace Martin in to record on our radio show from back in the day. I am now holding up my second poetry book, Write Out. All of these things you can find on my website. And Change the World is what I opened it up to randomly today. Ooh, that picture goes with my outfit, don't it? How do I do this? I'm just, G shit. But also, what you'll be able to see and what you have in your phone starting tomorrow, every platform, is TVOR, or The Voice of Reason, Volume 1, Visionary Affirmations. Please, I've already told you how to enjoy it. Let me know how it speaks to you, man. Hit us up at Raise It Up Y, RAISEITUPWY. Rockets up if you're on IG, or if you're on any other platform where you see us, especially if you're in a live. You see me, you rocket that bitch up. You understand? You understand? Couple dates. What are my dates, Katie? I have a date. I have a date to be in the house tomorrow. I think in a couple weeks I'm gonna be in the house. I have another date to be in the house. I'm gonna make a date to go out with the mask on and my hands washed and 6 feet away from all you germy mofo. And then I'll be in the house after that. So catch me, bro. Catch me at the house. I'll be catch me at any of the next Verzuz battles. Catch me on the 13s on at Wyana, because I'm always doing my YN 13 live discussions on the 13th of every month. We're going to do one specifically for TVOR, for the Voice of Reason, just to, have everybody kind of talk about what's speaking to them, where they're at, where they are feeling affirmed and shiitake like that. But outside of that, beautiful ladies and awesome gentlemen, know that this is always a pleasure. Every last Thursday of the month, being with y'all, vibing with y'all, loving with y'all, learning with y'all, seeing y'all grow. I hear it in the comments. I see it when you DM me. I appreciate y'all for rocking with the girl. Just a little thick West Coast chick trying to make some shit happen. That's it, and that's all. And until next time, you beautiful mofos, stay real. Look
give thanks for all the things I have. As I reminisce about the dreams I had, it seems that my dreams have become my life. Rap star, 3 kids and a wife. I live the boss's life. If I cross your sight or get lost tonight, I must say I lived a hell of a life. But my kids, I gotta give them more than I did. And I have spent a little more time at the pad to be their friend and not just their dad. Let them make their own decisions, cause if this they path, don't skip no class, learn how to get your cash. Life goes on, it's so fast.
Joy and pain, sunshine and rain, so many things. Ain't a lot of the change. People got it twisted, thought we was out of the game. Never knew I missed it. Been a while, changed up your style, but still love the crowd. Gotta keep up the time, keep on riding by, cause that's life. So many people forget your name. Everything has to change.
My oldest son turned 12, my baby girl 7. Lil Snoop said, Daddy, do you think we going to heaven? So I told him like my granddaddy used to tell me, we living in hell, so we better be. It's a trip how I drift when I drive. So hard to survive, I'm just trying to stay alive. I wanna cry, but I can't, so I smoke and I drink. Cause my motto is go hard in the paint. Think I ain't making a way for the future, G. Wasn't that good in the hood when I think of how it used to be. But I'ma change that and remain black. I'm planted and rooted and suited and booted, bang back.
Talking about life.
Snoop Dogg and the Emotions. How about that? That's life. Yeah, that's life. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie.